G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. We are here once again on the brand new patch for the brand new expansion for Age of Empires 4. This is the Sultan's Ascent. Welcome to an EGC Finals for 2023 game. Make sure you check them out. I'll leave a link in the description, but let's introduce our players for today. In the north of the map in the color red, playing as the Malians representing Izzy Dream, we've got Marine Lord. And in the south of the map in the color yellow, playing as Jeanne, we've got Lucifron 7. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying this casted content, make sure you leave a like on the video. Hit that subscribe button and, of course, ring that bell for the notifications. Look at that, we timed it up again. I can't believe it. That's 2 videos in a row. That's rare. We're on Gorge today. We've got ourselves a fun matchup, the Malians, a civilization considered by many pros to be on the stronger side. That's why we've seen it so much in recent games, just simply because we're casting pro games and naturally they're going to pick the best civs available. And one of the other civs that they picked, well, it's Joan of Arc, mate. It is Joan of Arc. She's out here on the gold mine. She's working her magic. What do we have for us in store today? That is going to be the question on everybody's mind. This civilization, considered by many to be overpowered, absolutely broken, busted, all those terms that we like to put on thumbnails to get you to click the videos, but at the same time, words that we see on Reddit, words that we see on the forums all the time, and words especially that we see in the gold leagues. But I guess the question's going to be, are we going to be able to see something new, something different from Lucifron, a new way to play Joan of Arc, or are we just going to be rehashing Old Faithful up against the Malians today? Because we have seen players on this map before, the mister, I'm looking at you, go for something a little bit cheeky, a little bit strange, a little bit sneaky. Of course, I'm talking about going for the Chamber of Commerce. Now, I don't think we're going to see that today. I think the Chamber of Commerce on a map like this is probably not the best bet. And the reason why is simple. Your trading posts spawn in awkward spots. Now, today we've actually had a pretty good trading post spawn here for Joan of Arc. So there is a world where I could see that happening, but the question's going to be about whether Lucifron spots that before he ages up, and I'll give you the honest answer. He does, because he sees it on the minimap. It's going to be the School of Cavalry, though. No real surprises there. We've seen this landmark 99 times out of 100, and unfortunately that's just going to be 100 out of 101 times today. Marine Lord on the other side of the map. Probably not going to be looking for trade. Most likely just going to be looking for that standard Malian opening. But one of the things that we will be working towards will be that castle age. We've seen this time and time again from the Malians, what they're always looking to do. Maybe take control in the early game with some javelins, with some donzos, and then work their way towards that castle age. When it comes to their pit mines, unfortunately for Marine Lord, this one's a little bit... How's your father? One on the backside, also going to be boxed in a little bit. Does have one up towards his top side, but expect him to anchor towards this southern corner as the Mansa Quarry does. Did I say southern corner? Eastern corner. This eastern corner as he begins to work towards that Mansa Quarry. Now, one thing that we could see today, we may see it, I don't know whether we will. Now, the Malians, if I remember correctly, can't take the boar. I'm 99%, yeah, I'm pretty sure the Malians and the Ottomans both can't take the boar. And if that's the case, when they actually kill the boar goes to 0. It's 0 out of 2,000. Like, there's no food there. It just disappears. It goes into the earth. Now, I don't know if Marine Lord is going to be that active with the boars this game, but if there's a reason to do it, it's because you're up against Joan. And that is simply because she gets that experience from the boar kills. Now, one thing to note is she's not as strong as she used to be. Was it the boar that got nerfed? If I remember correctly, it was the boar that got nerfed. It went from 50 to 25 XP. We'll have to double check, though, because now Lucifron, with the age up about to come through just before the 4 minute mark, rather, we'll be working up all of these houses. Now, we can't actually see how much experience he's got, but you can pretty well damn assume he is going on the way to that level 2 for Joan of Arc. You can see the lumber camp is coming up as well, but he's not even going to bother putting it down. Just going to be putting down all of these eco buildings as well. Going to help out a little bit as well with the lumber camp. Just going to tap it in, tap it in. There you go, nice little +4. Might get himself another one. But working towards that level 2 on the other side of the map. We're right on board with Marine Lord for a little bit as the wheelbarrow comes through. We'll be going into double broadaxe shortly, you can suspect. Marine Lord, let's see it. There it is. There's the double broadaxe now online and immediately throws the barracks down. Very aware that his opponent will have knights on the field imminently. And naturally looks towards that Donzo. You can see that this will get scattered out by Lucifron. He sees the barracks coming up. He knows that Marine Lord is getting prepared. Let's check in with Joan. She's still level 1 at the moment, but she's going to be switching over any second right now. We can see a mining camp thrown down just to the north. Surprised that Joan's not going to be the one building it, but expect to see Lucifron hitting level 2 any second now as that wheelbarrow also comes through. Going to be looking for that second TC. Definitely the right play. This is my favorite opening. This is something that whenever I'm coaching over on Patreon, and I do quite a bit of coaching on there whenever I'm watching the Jones or the French players, this is the build order I always refer them to. I'm like, this is what you want to be going for. The idea is simple. You want to get feudal as quickly as you can, look to level up Joan around that 5-minute mark and get her out on the map taking boars. At the same time, we try and get our knights out onto the map and just look to keep our opponent in the base. And then at the same time, what we're going to be working towards is a second town center. And we can see he's now got 7 villagers out on the stone outcropping for that. Then from there, what we're going to be doing is spending as long as we need to in the feudal age, building up a nice mass of archers, building up a nice mass of knights. And then once we're ready, we'll make our way into the castle age with the Royal Institute and look to hit a timing attack with Royal Bloodlines. Are we going to see that today? That is going to be the question on my mind. I don't know about your mind, but maybe I've just put it out there. So if you'd like to check it out, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can jump online and have a look at that coaching content. Of course, we've got paid content as well. Obviously, most of the content over there is free, but this season's stuff, that's going to be behind a paywall. And if you'd like to get your own macro police visiting you, then that is also going to be something that's behind that paywall. But anyway, let's keep moving on, because at this stage of the game, Marine Lord, he's trying to scout out what his opponent's up to. He has spotted out the mining camp. He will know the second TC is coming through. And he sees the knight on the backside and naturally moves the villagers over towards this right side just to keep them a little bit safer. No Donzo presence out on this back area just yet. Does have them down on the gold vein. And of course, we've got that scout on the top side. So naturally, Lucifron knows that there are units here ready to protect. And you can see that it's just about forcing a response here from his opponent. Town center now going to be coming up for Lucifron. He has already taken that boar out towards that west corner. We haven't yet seen him move out towards that east corner. It's a little bit close to the enemy base though, and you've got to be careful, especially when your opponent's got a nice little mass of donzos like this. They could put on the pressure, they could start to harass you, and you don't really have any response to that just yet. Expect to see archery ranges coming up shortly as well for Lucifron. Most likely going to be towards that front side of the base. He's keeping a nice little ring, keeping a nice little ring for his farms around the town center eventually. Survival techniques now coming through, of course, putting that town center down on the deer, as is obligatory. And we'll check back in with Marine Lord as those numbers continue to build. Keep in mind, he does have the range up now, so we'll be looking to get those javelin numbers up. And he is slowly just trickling in the cows. So not going to be looking at any kind of second TC play. This is just, it's not the style with the Malians. A little bit too slow, and definitely something that you can prioritize when you go into these cattle ranches, because you get that wonderful big cow landmark that is going to take you up to the castle age. It's just really nice synergy there for them. But now the Donzos, together with the javelins, throwing off on that scout, not going to be able to find it. Villager moving out for a second pit mine. Very intentional. He has left this too late. Doesn't bring that villager out early. Knows that his opponent is well and truly aware of his intent to get that pit mine up. But now have a look at this. Able to force that Royal Knight into a bit of an awkward position, but keep in mind he has left his gold vein open, so Lucifron could look to connect a charge. More Knights going to be rounding the corner. Does he look to spot it? Knight comes through it, manages to get the charge off, and now looking towards those villagers. May be able to pick up the first one for the game. Does indeed get it off, and Marine Lord goes, oh, how did I let that happen? How did I possibly let that happen? But I tell you what, you take out a Knight for it, you're not feeling too bad. That is a... Look, at the end of the day, you probably wouldn't want to trade one villager for a knight on the defensive, but on the offensive, you're probably happy with that. Like, it's not a terrible trade. Ideally, you want to keep that knight alive, but hey, look, we got one villager, so things aren't terrible. Let's check in with Lucifron. Archery ranges, as we expected, and look at this, exactly how I love to see it. The madman has thrown down 3 production buildings at the exact same time, leaves enough space in here for the farms around the town center, preparing that economy, or preparing that base for later on, just future-proofing it. Wants to make sure that everything is going to be ready when it comes around to that farm transition. You always want to try and keep those farms under the TC. That way your villagers don't have to run too far, inevitably, when those raids do come. But now, more upgrades on the way. It's going to be horticulture for him together. Have a look at this. We've also got chivalry coming through, an upgrade that is a little bit less seen these days. Jonah moving over. No, still not yet taking the boar. Slowly trickling in that passive experience. And now one of the key things against Joan, often when we talk about playing against Joan, there's a couple of things that you want to do from the side of Marine Lord. Number one is you want to avoid fighting her. That's the first thing. You really want to try and keep keep out of her way. Because if you do, you're going to give her experience. So any chance you can get to fight her, just try and say no. On top of that, number 2 is we want to disrupt her. Now, that's not as important as it used to be, disrupting her, because realistically, she used to be able to get out on the map and take boars, and that would give her a lot of experience, whereas the boar doesn't really give her that much experience anymore. And number 3 is we want to get to Castle Age. That's just because our units do a little bit more damage in Castle Age. They can penetrate that armor a bit better. And normally we go for crossbows, but here, as the Malians, you don't have access to crossbows. You've got access to Musofadi, which do pretty well against Jeanne, but at the same time, they will have to surround her, and she's got access to Holy Wrath. So I'm a little bit stumped as to what the plan should be for Marine Lord when it comes to countering Jeanne. I think the best bet's probably just going to be building up a Javelin mass, but the reality is this could be a very difficult matchup for the Malians just on that basis. The key to defeating her is going to be crossbows, and you lack them. You do not have access to crossbows at all. Your best bet here is the Musofadi. And the fact is she's got that attack, that Holy Wrath, and good luck trying to surround her when she gets Castle Age, or when she gets level 3. That's going to be incredibly difficult. I think I might have just stumbled across what might be the most difficult matchup here for the Malians, perhaps even the best matchup for Joan of Arc, just simply because there's no crossbows. Well, this is going to be painful. Let's see how it plays out, though, for Marine Lord. I didn't even realize that until I just stumbled across it right then, you know, going through the motions of how should we counter this civilization? Well, you know, 1, 2, and 3, and then getting to the 3rd step and being like, uh-oh, we don't have crossbows. This is not going to go pretty. Anyway, we'll check in and see how he does. Keep in mind, you want to avoid these fights early on because it's just going to give experience over to your opponent. Marine Lord does look like he might be working towards Castle Age. There's 12 villagers on gold for the moment. How much gold has he got left in this? Let's take a look and see. It's difficult for me to click on the gold vein. There is a way. There we go. 2,000 gold left. So he's got plenty of gold left on it. Now going to throw down another archery range. So we're going for a 3 and 2 in the feudal age. He's intent on staying this one out, up to 53 vills here for Lucifron. Keep in mind, one of the disadvantages to picking Joan of Arc over the French is that your villagers do not train faster as this civilization. They train in 20 seconds. The French, the base French civilization, do get faster training vills. You do not get that here with Jeanne. One of the other things to note is that you don't get access to that discounted unit rate when you get to Castle Age, when you throw down a keep next to your archery range or your stable. But one of the things that you do get going for you is Consecrate. Consecrate, the ability to reduce the food cost of your town centers, of your stables, of your archery ranges, of pretty much any building that there is. And on top of that, once you get to Castle Age, there's a nice little unique upgrade you get access to. It's this one right here, Ordnance Company, and that's going to reduce the cost of everything by 25% under the wood and the gold amount. And that includes siege, which can be pretty good. So basically your only limit just becomes Jeanne and how fast she can get that Consecrate ability up. And have a look at this. We got both of these players now heading towards the Castle Age, and Lucifron going to be playing a little bit of a longer style of game here. Not going to be looking for that timing in the Castle Age, playing it a little safer. And that's definitely the way I see it. You're playing a little bit of a safer game when you go into this. And I think this could be smart because naturally Jeanne, the longer the game goes, the better Jeanne gets, right? And the longer the game goes, the more value you get from Jeanne because she's just going to continue to get those free units. Remember that eventually she will have access to a royal cannon, which will come out and absolutely obliterate any enemy defenses, and that will be for free. And that will be on a timer every couple of minutes. And age ups coming in within a second of each other. Veterancy on the Donzos, veterancy on the Javelin Thrower, veterancy coming through for your Spearmen eventually, veterancy coming in on the Archers, on the Royal Knights. They are all coming through right here. And I think that 1337 is a pretty good time to switch this over to income per minute as the monasteries are now coming online. Have a look at that. Moss getting thrown down as well. Both of these players ready to fight it out. You can see the upgrades almost coming through. Needs to avoid fighting until those upgrades are online. Jeanne just chilling back here. Looking, he's keeping her with the Spearman. Definitely the wise choice here. You got to be careful though if she does move forward. You got to be careful of a potential snipe. You can see ranged armor is through for her. Still no level 3. Normally we're looking for that level 3 timing around the 13 to 15 minute mark, depending on how passive the game has been. But now those Donzos beginning to push up. Monastery might be under pressure here. Javelin Throwers looking to put on the hurt early on. Keep in mind those Donzos are working the magic in. Looks like the relics will go over to Marine Lord if he's able to take that down, and definitely with the amount of Donzos he's got, you think it's almost certain that it's going to happen here. That's going to be a nice advantage. Marine Lord does say, you know what, let's throw it down. Let's see exactly what you've got. And now, oh, a little bit of a micro mistake. No, he's not micro mistaking. He's going to try and focus down Jeanne early on in the game. She goes down. Level 2 Jeanne taken out by the Javelin javelin throwers, but have a look at this as he overcommitted too much on the javelins, and now all of a sudden the numbers have begun to dwindle. He's got archers on the back line, but the Royal Knights make their way into the front. He's going to look to try and clean this one out, and you can see the problem that he's got. Investing those javelin into taking out Jeanne meant he took a lot of damage early on, and the javelin throwers, the numbers here are just not going to be enough as the archers able to overwhelm the Donzos completely. He forces his opponent back. He's able to keep the monastery up. The relics are still coming through for him. He's having himself an absolute field day behind this. At the same time, we see both players picking up relics at the exact same time, but Lucifron putting on the damage early on. Where is that next level Jeanne? There she is. She's still level 2, still chilling out. But don't worry, she is back, and she has got a vengeance to strike down upon her opponent. That is for sure. Expect level 3 to be coming through any second now. We're at the 15-minute mark. It's going to take time for it to trickle in. And I promise you, I've fed this back to the devs. I've said, hey, you're introducing a new civilization. You know what would be really lovely? Is if, you know, for the tens of $1,000 tournaments that you're hosting, maybe if they could see the experience of Jeanne, even, you know, if it came up on the UI, that would be lovely. But, you know, maybe even if we just clicked on her, just a nice little bar down here. But look, I appreciate it's 2023. The technology's not quite there yet, but hopefully 2024 comes around. We will get that, maybe mid 2024, hopefully. Nice attempt by Lucifron there to find a raid. Not going to be happening today. Pit mine expansion towards that north side. Walls over on the south for Marine Lord's base. He's looking to just control that narrative a bit, prevent those Royal Knights from inevitably coming in. And have a look at this. Relics being taken away. Marine Lord able to snipe one out, and a very close relic to the base of his opponent. Where was that relic? Down here. Definitely one you would assume would be safe for Lucifron. So now 2 relics apiece. The third and final relic for Marine Lord will be picked up shortly. It's going to be 3-2 in favor of the Malians. Now, Sacred Sites will come through shortly. I think Lucifron accidentally hit the Sacred Site with Jeanne, and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot, that's a thing. Yeah, she's a religious unit. You can take Sacred Sites with her. You get her out there, get her capturing. And I'm pretty sure she gets experience from capturing Sacred Sites. I might be, maybe I'm imagining things, but surely she does, right? But no, that could be abused, because you could put her on the Sacred Site and then stand her off the Sacred Site, and then the Sacred Site would go away, and then you'd put her back on the Sacred. Yeah, you could totally abuse that. Maybe they could make it so that every Sacred Site she captures, or she's nearby when a capture happens. Just move her over there. Just chuck her over here. Come on, get her over there. Javelin thrower's doing work here. Notice that he's still yet to switch. There's 2 primary compositions we see out of the Malians. Javelins together with Donzos, and then eventually they switch into Sofa Warriors together with Archers. And it's normally, when it happens, it's quite a significant switch, or an imminent switch. What's the word? It just happens instantly, right? Like, it's not like it's a slow trickle. It is like, okay, and now I'm switching. So let's see whether that's going to happen here. And once again, Marine Lord, oh gosh, Marine Lord looking to pick out off this monastery. Have a look at this. He's picking up more monks at this stage of the game, heading him out straight to the Sacred Site. Lucifron's got an absolute goal to try and achieve here, but now on the backside, there she is, Jeanne, looking to try and stay in XP range, does not want to die, throws down that heal. Jeanne, there she gets level 3, immediately needs to pop the men-at-arms. No, she's going to run in, she's going to try and get her little AoE attack off. We're going to keep our eye on her as the javelin throwers. Where do they go? They're not looking to focus her down. There's the attack. Donzo's not going to be able to do too much damage to her. She's still moving up that top side, does have the ability to throw down those men-at-arms any chance she wants, but just going to keep looking to get, oh, big damage coming through. Another spin to win. Now popping those men-at-arms. They're going to help out a little bit against the Donzos here, and you can see that the cavalry able to chase back these units. And once again, look at Jeanne, almost full health once again, just healing up. Another big spin to win. Cops down to about 40% health. Continues coming through, and there is just obviously no clear way for the Malians to deal with this. What do they do here? I mean, short of hand cannoneers, like, do you go for fast Imperial? Do you try and get Imperial and get hand cannoneers out to deal with her? She could just come in with impunity right now, and making her way in once again. Big spin, there it goes, takes out another 3 units, and she manages to escape with 20% health. And you can see the power of Jeanne right here. This might be the worst matchup for the Malians, and might just be the best matchup for Jeanne. I would love to see the win rates for this matchup, just simply because of this one fact, this simple fact that they do not have access to crossbows. And look at the military difference now coming out, absolutely massive. But one thing to note, while the military difference might be significant, the army value says it's pretty even Stevens. I don't know if I buy it though. I swear this army value, it's completely bugged. I'm telling you right now, I don't think this is as accurate. I reckon Marine Lord is doing pretty damn well compared to his opponent. We can calculate it right now. You can just do, 50 archers. They're 80 resources each, so that's 4,000 resources right there. And he's sitting on 4,800. Well, he's got 8 knights out, and they're 240 each. So I can tell you right now, there is no way that this is correct. Already, we've calculated at about 7,000. Not to mention the spears, not to mention the Joan. Unless, is Joan like counting as some sort of negative resource? Is that what's doing it? We've got a little bit of overflow in the wrong area. Interesting position. I'm very curious about this farming position. We were talking all game earlier about how he'd left these nice little ring for farms to come down, and then he's like, actually, Drongo, for me, as a top-level Giga Chad gamer, I put my farms in the front. I will be calling the macro police on you here, Lucifron. This is going to be a citation. We do not put our farms in the front of our base like this, especially in front of our production, because when the fights happen, inevitably when your enemy comes and fights you here, we want to make sure that our villagers don't go idle. But now, Marine Lord looking to strike once again against that opponent. Plenty of knight numbers here. Joan coming through, looking to try and get some damage out. He's not really looking to focus her down. You can see him just moving back with the javelins. The keep will come online. Nice little spin once again. Throws the heel down, gets a little bit more health on it. Archers on the backside getting caught up on the barracks. And now those javelin throwers trying to face their worst fear. It's going to be that Joan. She continues to come through. Marine Lord scratching his head going, how the hell am I going to deal with this? How am I possibly going to deal with this? Another spin, another win for Marine Lord, or rather for Lucifron. He's really dishing out plenty of damage here inside the base of his opponent. And now level 3 Joan. There's going to be a prospect of level 4 Joan coming out shortly. She's collected so much experience throughout these fights. We're yet to see her go the way of the dodo since she's been level 3. He's just been doing a wonderful job of keeping her afloat throughout these games and now making her way onto the backside. There's nowhere near enough units here to deal with this, but have a look at this. A big transition is coming through. A lot of units in queue, and this is what I was talking about. It's going to be a very a very swift switch to Sofa Warriors together with Archers. You can expect it's happening right now as we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stables coming in. More Sofa Warriors going to be in queue. Archers looking to try and pick it off. He's just going to tap out. He's just going to throw it out right there. Marine Lord losing against Lucifron. Absolutely huge. Fellas, go check out EGC TV this weekend. 15 GMT, Saturday and Sunday, you're going to see the best players in the world facing off in the grand finals. Make sure you check it out. I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.